Hello and welcome to ccieadvisor.com. In this lesson we will be discussing how to add an IP address to a switch port. Okay, so we're talking about one of the switch ports. If it's 24 port, it's one of the ports 1 through 24. It's just usually used as an access port, but in this case, and we're not talking about a switched VLAN interface, we're talking about an actual physical port that we're going to turn into a routable port. Okay, so this can be used for routing just like any other port on a router or a switch virtual interface. Okay, so here we're going to go ahead and do a show run because everybody's familiar with that command. It's short for show running config. We have a little QoS configured on this one, and let's take a look here. Here's one that we shut down administratively. Let's use Fast Ethernet 05 for this example. We'll do a Control-C. To move back to enable mode, we'll go into Configure Terminal, and we're in configuration mode, this global configuration mode. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to go into the interface, Fast Ethernet. Which one did I say? 05. Okay, here we go. Now, this port is set up out of the box to be a dynamic trunk. Okay, now what we want to do is make this not a trunk anymore, not a switch port anymore, but a routed port, a routed interface. Okay, so we don't want it to be a switch port, so how do we go about that? Let's try no switch port command. Okay, no switch port, and we can just hit carriage return. It's the last option here. Okay. Let's go back and take a look at it. We'll do the show run. Like I said, we're just using the ports on the very top of this switch, so it's going to be pretty quick to see. Now look at how different this looks. Okay, it used to look like Fast Ethernet 06. Now if you're following along with MP3, of course you can subscribe to the videos, or once you get back to a computer you can check it out, but I'll describe it. Fast Ethernet 6 is what it used to look like, which just says switch port mode dynamic desirable. But now that I've done the no switch port command, it says no switch port under Fast Ethernet 05. Now it says no IP address and no switch port. Okay, so that's pretty self-explanatory what we've done here. We've taken it out of switching mode and we've placed it into a routed mode. Okay, so now let's go back into it and add an IP address. Interface Fast Ethernet 05, and the command is IP address. Okay, it's going to be dotted decimal format, which is pretty much what you're used to. And we can go ahead and say 10.10.20. Let's see, we'll use 20.1. Okay, are we done? Probably not. Okay, so it wants an IP subnet mask. Well, that makes sense, right? We don't want it to automatically guess because we're going to be disappointed, because it would, if we set it to classful, then it would be class A, it would be a 10 dot, and that's probably not, that's probably a little too flat for you. So we're going to want it to be more granular than that. We'll go ahead and do class C. That's 8 bits for the first 3 octets there. Enter. And here we go. It looks pretty good. Let's go back and take a look at that interface. We'll do a show run. Hit the spacebar a couple times. 1, 2 times. There we go. Look at this. Now it's a routed interface. Fast Ethernet 05 can be set up. We could put OSPF on it. We could just route to it. We could, with statics I mean, and we could also plug it into a router. We could plug it into another switch port that we've turned into a routed port from another switch. It's great. It's great flexibility, and one of the things that makes Cisco so fantastic. So we are set, and as a rule we are always going to say go ahead and do a write mem or copy running config space startup config. Okay, I'll go ahead and show you that. Copy running config startup config. See that? Copy space running dash config space startup dash config. Now if you reboot it, same thing as write mem, okay? So don't worry about that. Pretty easy. Thanks for joining us for this lesson on how to make a switch port a routed port.